Welcome back to the Ministry Path podcast, where we're finding mentors and meaningful practices along the ministry path. I'm so excited to welcome our guest today, and thank you so much for being a part of this journey. And if you're back, or if this is your first time and you're finding us on YouTube and the different ways that you listen to podcasts, we're just so grateful for you to be part of this journey. And if you've been part of this journey, you know that we've been meeting mentors, people who can help us figure out ministry and how to improve the ways that we reach others. And today we're going to be talking about young adult ministry. I'm so blessed to welcome Dr. Geoff Sewell. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Good morning.
Amazing. So, I've been loving just collaborating with you here at Southern California Conference. Tell us a little bit about your role and how long you've been doing that.
Yeah, sure. So I am responsible for young adult ministry for SoCal. I've been doing it a little over 3 years.
Wow.
I have the privilege of working with the One House team, which is a group of pastors and lay people who really love young adults and are young adults.
That's an amazing team.
Want to be, they're
some
incredible.
amazing people.
I'm
right?
super blessed. In fact, I was just talking to a couple pastors this morning. I'm super happy. So I'm blessed. We work with the team, and we do a lot of ministry events that are there to support churches, not to take the place of what they do, but to do things that maybe they have a hard time doing, like organizing mission trips or doing intercessory prayer events with 8 pastors leading stations. So we're there to support our churches, and it's great. It's super fun.
So I've been to several of your events, and to see young adults coming together throughout Southern California Conference and meeting, developing relationships, and then some of the top speakers in the Christian world to come and to pour into young adults. They're growing, right? They're trying to figure out life, and they're developing spiritual communities to be able to do that. What are the blessings and the challenges of working with young adults?
Yeah, if you look, we have such exceptional young people in Southern California. They are amazing. They're dealing with high cost of living and traffic and all of the demands, and yet they love Jesus and they want to contribute. And so we just got back from Arizona from Navajo Nation.
Mission trip?
Yeah, I took 20 young adults and we built, and it was cool. But let me tell you, there's something that's just nuts. So this is young adults, nuts. 5 of them came with me on Sabbath and helped us build Sunday morning until 3 o'clock, and then 5 of them went home. So they came literally for 24 hours.
Wow.
To help us make progress to frame a 30 by 40 concrete pad and a 60 by 4 foot concrete walkway. We had it all leveled out within a day because of their help. This is where they want to give. They come when they can. We had the Jocelyn's come on Monday and leave on Thursday because that was their work schedule. We had Ricky and Crystal and Ren and Melvin and Christina come on Sabbath and leave on Sunday, because that was their schedule. We had Pastor Isai and Cindy come on Monday, go on Friday. So people come where they can. But imagine going 600 miles just to spend 24 hours because you want to help contribute.
Wow.
That's the quality of the young adults we have. They're incredible.
They want to make a difference in the world.
100%.
I know you've taken groups to South America on mission trips, and some of those stories they're there to serve, but in the service part, they begin to discover and to respond to the gospel. Any amazing stories that happen of people who were serving and then found Jesus?
Yeah. So our latest trip to the Navajo Nation, we had someone who's a Christian but not an Adventist, and he came, and on the trip he was impressed and supported in entering the ministry. So he actually made a career decision to enter the ministry on this mission trip.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
I got to connect with one of our young adults who's a pre-med student at UCLA, so I can help mentor her along the way. I mean, there's just such great relationships. We've gone on mission trips and people have said, "Can I get baptized?" We're like, "Yeah, let's go." And so it's in the serving that we can be, we're converted by the word. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And so when they're out there doing the work, it changes us. It's just so cool.
It's been amazing to see all the different ways that your team is connecting with young adults all across our conference. And you mentioned UCLA and college campus ministry. You're also involved in this is a brand new ministry in our conference, right?
Yeah, Pastor Insa, he does upper room fellowship halftime, and then he's our campus chaplain. Campus Connect is what he calls it. And so he's got a team of pastors, and they go to campuses and they do Bible studies, they bring food.
Public campuses.
Public campuses.
Yeah.
This is all of our schools in Los Angeles because, we don't have an Adventist school in Los Angeles County. And so they go to USC and they go to Northridge and they go to Pasadena and they go to Cal State Long Beach, Pomona, UCLA. I mean, we're out there going to these campuses to support our kids that are going and their friends and invite them Bible study. And we just feed them sometimes. We just bring food, and we want them to know they're not alone on this journey. We're here.
Yeah.
It's a really
That's
cool
amazing.
ministry. Yeah.
Thank you so much
Eden's
for
amazing. Really,
you
him
and
and
your
his team.
team and your entire ministry and how you're impacting young adults. And today we just wanted to talk to ministry leaders and pastors and to talk about young adult ministry, some of the challenges, but also not just to gripe about, millennials and what they struggle with, but to talk about how we can meaningfully engage young adults. And I was talking to a parent of young adults. You and I are parents. You have amazing kids. I know you've met my kids, and they're amazing. Young adult ministry is challenging. And sometimes the first time that we really come to grips with the challenges when our kids grow into that age. I was talking to somebody who just recently, was considering the struggle of faith for his children. It's when we begin to have children that we start to kind of understand and really grapple with that challenge. And he had some really, really pointed questions about how do you engage your children, first of all, and then of course how do we minister to young adults in the church? What are some of the challenges that you find in the local church as we're trying to minister to young adults?
Yeah, I think that the parenting analogy is a good one. With our kids, decision-making is sort of external at some point. Don't run across the road, don't touch this. And then the decision-making has to become internalized. But we scaffold, right? We put up supports and we put up a scaffold. They need help here. And then when they rock and roll there, we take down the scaffold and we move it to other places. So the scaffolding idea is one that I want parents and ministry leaders to think about. We have to put up temporary scaffolds to help support our young adult wherever they are on the journey. But then we can take it down when they're good. And then we might have to move it up somewhere else. But the goal is our faith, Jesus becomes their faith, their Jesus. Decision-making becomes theirs, internalized, so that they can navigate on their own. Because if we keep it just external, well, who's going to be there? Who's going to help them? So they've got to deal with this. And so parental decision-making and faith, that journey is going from an externalization, teaching and setting construct, to this is internal, this is my Jesus, this is my understanding. And when we look in the church, there's a book written about 20 years ago by David Kinnaman from the Barna Group called You Lost Me, and you is underlined. And the you lost me is the young adults, when they surveyed them, 43% of young adults at 18 leave the church across Protestant and Catholic denominations. 43, so almost half of our kids who are in the church leave when they hit 18.
Wow.
And what they say, fairly or not, they said, hey, church, you had me. Church, you lost me. And so when they leave, we're brokenhearted. And when we look at the groups when they leave, they did research on 50,000 young adults. This is a big sample. And they went and asked and they looked into it. There are really three sort of spiritual experiences that our young adults are having growing up, our youth and our kids. One is they're nomadic. They're sort of moving around and they just haven't found it yet. So they're open, but they haven't landed. Jesus hasn't been their Jesus yet for whatever reason. They're open. Number two is prodigal. They've been hurt. This is a tough group. Either they're hurt in the head, like stuff doesn't make sense, or they're hurt in the heart. You were mean to me. You were unkind. That group is the minority, praise the Lord. But they're a hard group to win back because they've been hurt in the church. And then the third group are the exiles. So they know what the church should be, what Jesus said it should be, loving, kind, accepting, but maybe they encounter it in a way where it's not that. So there's a gap, Danny, between what they know the church should be and what their experience is. So
what their experience has been in the church.
Yeah. So they're kind of exiled. Like they don't feel necessarily safe to be in that church. They love Jesus and they want to be in a church, but like that church was painful. That wasn't what Jesus said it was. So there are these three experiences that people have. And then the question is, what do we do? So if you're a nomad or if you're a prodigal or if you're an exile, now what do we do?
Right.
Now, we would love it if there was one thing to do. Okay, like people are just mean, we should be kinder. Well, okay. But actually the research, and Kinnaman said this, he said, I really thought there would be one or two main things we should do. And when Kinnaman wrote this, president of Barna, he was a young adult. And he said, there's actually 6 things we need to address. There are 6 big talking points we need to address. And so I just want to cover them just really briefly.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So one of them is the church is seen as overprotective. It kills creativity. The church basically holds on, and You and I both know what are the 7 last words of a dying church.
It's like we've never done it that way.
We've never done it way before, right? And so
7 dying words of a last church. Wow, that's sobering.
so these young adults, they
Like
want to be in.
like the resistance to change, but sometimes the complexity of, oh, this is holy, or this is a sanctuary, like this is the way that that Ellen White,
Yeah,
the doctrines of the church. We use that many times to kind of keep things the way they are, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of the natural human instinct. But young adults don't seem to thrive in that environment.
They're really smart, okay?
Mhm.
It's like leadership's a fishbowl. They all watch us in the goldfish in the bowl. They're all watching. They're so smart.
Mhm.
And they see that people confuse culture and theology. Like culturally, like this is the way I want to do it. It's just hymns. It's always just hymns. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, that's not really a theological thing, but we hold it up as one. And
Yeah.
so in
Because
Los
like you
Angeles,
ask those people, it's like, do you listen to only hymns at home or in
Yeah.
your car? You get into their car and they're blasting the music.
Yeah.
But in church, it's
church,
only
oh,
right.
boy.
So they see that, right? They see the difference.
They see it. And so it's like this control, this overprotective. And so they want to be able to get into leadership, and they want to make some differences safely, to be mentored. But the church is like, it's just this one way.
Mhm.
So this overprotective vibe really kills their creativity.
Okay. So that's one of that's the
One.
first one of the first reasons why young adults start to detach from the church.
Yeah,
Would you
they're
say?
like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure this is the church for me.
Okay.
Because now that I'm older and I want to get involved in leadership, but clearly the church is like, it's just one way.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? It's
No.
not like a young adult one morning just says, hey, I want to stop going to church. It's just something that they're picking up along the way as they're a part of the community, or
Yeah, I mean, if 43% of kids are leaving when they're 18, so basically they leave when they can, they've been thinking about it
they've
during
been
high
thinking
school.
about
They've
it.
been thinking about it.
Yeah.
So the church is not meeting their needs.
Something's
It's not meeting their
yeah.
needs. And then when they can leave, they do leave.
Mm. Okay, so that's the first thing,
So
right?
first.
Okay.
So the second is shallow. So what they discovered was people really don't know their Bibles.
Oh, I see.
I mean, look
Like
at us
some
Adventists. We used to be known as people of
shallow faith.
shallow faith, shallow experience. We used to be known as people of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that to churches, they're like, yeah, we used to be known as people of the book. And why is this important? Well, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
But also these faith stories, we can rely on them. The story of Job, the story of Daniel and David and Esther, and whatever story you vibe with. There's so many stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what they discovered was churches are kind of seen as boring.
Mm.
Like Jesus is not brought to life in all how cool he is and how powerful and how lovely, and having him woo, that matchless charms of Christ that Ellen White talks about, where we lift him up and he's drawn. We get in some formalism. And so
there's a lot of kind of formalism, kind of superficial. You talk about Jesus' love, but you don't go into the depth of the gospel.
You don't mind the beauty of it.
Like the beauty of it. Like young adults, they're looking for depth, aren't they?
They're looking for someone who's real.
Someone who's real.
I mean,
authentic.
Jesus knows how they feel. Rejected, sad, perhaps depressed, cold, hungry, happy, betrayed. He went through all of these things. And so if we can lift them up, the young adults can say, yeah, that's somebody who knows what I'm going through.
Mm.
So, and then the other problem they found, was when they talked to the parents, even some of the adults' faith is shallow. So the bottom line is the research shows we think we know our Bibles better than we do. Ouch. That hurts a little bit. So now you know why I'm a big proponent of the 2-1-1 Bible reading plan. I talk about it ad nauseum. Sorry, pastors and lay people. I just keep on talking about it. Again, today, I read 2 Old Testament chapters, a chapter in the Proverbs, and a New Testament chapter. You can get through the Bible in about 10 months that way. It's super fun. It's exciting. It's a good mix of things. I really love it. I'm on that over and over
getting
again.
into the Word, helping our young adults
Word.
get into the Word.
Yeah, I want you to see that the Word is cool. And so the shallow faith is a problem. So when they get into trouble, they don't have that faith. They don't have that depth to pull on.
Mm-hmm.
And so
because
that's
they're looking.
challenge.
So they're growing up in the church, and they're just trying to see how the adults and the culture of the church, like how deep is it? And sometimes they're not finding that.
Is it real?
So it's a reason for them to start detached.
And then when they get into trouble, they don't have that faith to lean into.
Mm.
They don't have this experiential knowledge of Jesus to lean into.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have it. And so when they lean to it, it's not there.
Yeah.
So now where do they go? So they go to other things for advice and support.
Yeah. So even in youth ministry and in the younger stages, we gotta sometimes we get into this mold of, the kids have to have fun and they gotta be entertained, but getting into the word is so important, even for young people.
I
Right?
am very excited about, Elder Edis and his wife, Jenny.
Mhm.
And I tell him, I was just talking to him yesterday, children's ministry is the most important ministry in all of Southern California.
Mm.
If you've got families and you've got kids, you automatically have a growing young church.
Yeah.
You have one that's growing and will be around. And then I'm very excited about Pastor Paulo and Nudis, our coordinator,
Mhm.
investing in the youth. If we can make Jesus real and get into that, then selfishly for me,
Yeah.
I have less people to chase who've left the church.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
just tell them openly, like, hey, I'm the biggest fans of children and youth ministry, because the more you keep them in the church, the easier my job is,
Yeah.
and that's
But-
just real.
Yeah. But
just
we're
what it is.
working together, trying to address
100%.
everything. So, but okay. So that's the third component.
That's a second. So if
Oh,
we
the
look
second.
at,
Sorry.
yeah, so if we look at, so we've got overprotective, we've got shallow. The third is anti-science.
Anti-science. Tell me about that.
Well, so if you look at it, all the whole COVID thing and people railing against science and, the confusion over macroevolution,
Mhm.
that being science. And so now God and science are being pitted against each other,
Mhm.
whereas God is the God of science.
Yeah.
I saw an article where it's like, well, religion and science are two sides of a coin. It's like, no, God is the God of science.
Mm.
And we can't talk to him about it. And so basically, when science raises these issues like, what is the age of the world? Did the flood really happen? Is the world 4.5 billion years old or 6,000 years old? Is it literal creation or is it just an allegory and theistic evolution? We should get in there and grapple with those issues and present what the Bible has to say. So my worldview is the Bible, and God is the great physician. He is science. He lives by his laws. If he could have changed his laws, he wouldn't have had to die, but he had to die in order to fulfill the law. He lives by these laws. Now, how does he defy gravity? There's a scientific reason. He hates witchcraft. He hates sorcery, all of this mumbo jumbo. There's a reason for why God does what he does. So God is the God of science. And when you look, what percentage of young adults go into science-related careers?
Yeah. What percent?
52%
52% of our young people
are going into
are
science-related
pursuing
careers.
science careers.
Yeah. What percentage of sermons in our churches are science-based?
Mm.
The research shows less than 1%.
Wow. Pastors, less than 1%, and
Less
me
than-
included, right?
All of us.
All of us. For whatever reason, the culture of our churches, we don't have a culture of grappling with scientific issues, is what you're saying.
And yet we have a healthcare system and a medical school in Loma Linda.
We have the health message.
We literally have the right arm. I'm an internal medicine doctor, right? The right arm of the gospel
That's
is health.
right.
So now you know why it drives me crazy.
Wow.
As a doctor, I'm science and religion. That's God.
Yeah, right. But we're not grappling with those questions that our young adults need to hear about.
How do we prepare them? So all of our young adults that go to all of these secular schools, how will they survive a class where macroevolution is presented as fact?
Yeah.
Are they ready? Have we given them the tools?
Yeah.
Do they know how to think about it?
Mhm.
And so,
Are we inviting science teachers and physicians and different
Yeah.
people to come to the church
Yeah.
to speak about these issues? We don't have to have all the answers ourselves,
yeah,
but are we providing resources for our young people to be exposed from the biblical perspective?
absolutely. My undergraduate degree is biochemistry. I'm a scientist. You should
Mhm.
invite people like me to come and talk about science.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. In fact, on this Navajo mission trip, I spent a couple hours in the van talking about science with them, and the young adults were just so happy, and we got into these good conversations. It was so fun.
Yeah.
God is the God of science, but we like push it out like, oh, he's
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah. But again, that's another reason where young adults start to detach when they're not hearing this stuff.
yeah.
Good. Excellent. What's another?
So the next one is repressive. So the world and sexuality is out there, but we're telling people, it's like almost like we don't want them to have fun. Like we don't talk about sex. So what I tell all of the leaders in the church is, if you're not teaching your young adults about sex, the other guy is.
Mm.
So if we're not going to educate our young people about sex and why we don't have sex outside of marriage and sexuality, if we're not going to have that conversation, I promise you the world will. Satan will.
Right.
The other guy
They're
is
constantly bombarded,
constantly,
right? They're learning about
constantly,
it. They're learning about it already. Social
one way or
media,
another.
like, yeah. But they're learning about it everywhere except for the church,
I worry
right?
about that.
Wow.
Shouldn't we be talking with them so they can
Yeah.
understand these beautiful bodies and how God puts us together and what the purpose of sex is and why sex outside of marriage can be dangerous and why it can be
Yeah.
harmful? But we sort of bury our head in the sand. We sort of
Yeah.
ignore it.
Just this last Saturday, I was at a church, and
Yeah.
the speaker said, and he was asking, is sexuality a gift from God? Amen. And it was quiet.
Yeah,
It was
the church
quiet,
is
right?
like,
And he had to say it like 3
yeah,
times
I'm
before. Is
sure.
sexuality a gift from God?
Right.
Absolutely, it is,
Yeah,
right? But
right.
it's one of those things that we don't talk about, right?
We're not sure what to say, so we just keep quiet.
And yet, the Bible's full of passages addressing sexuality. So we do need to be training and speaking about it in the biblical perspective, right?
So one of the things that I enjoy doing is some of the church young adult groups. So I just had this kind of like Pastor Jeff Unplugged. So I was there for 3 hours, and they write their questions on 3x5 cards and send them in.
Yeah.
And we answer from the Bible. So one of them was
Wow.
about what do we do about sexuality and LGBTQ and things. And so I started with sexuality from the Bible, and we just got into the Bible, and they're rich
Yeah.
conversations. And that's one reason that I love to do young adult ministry is it's messy. It's not always linear,
Yeah.
but we can get into it. Let's just see what the Bible has to say and let's talk about it. And so
Yeah.
our young adults, they want relationship. They want people they can trust.
Mhm.
Like, I'm concerned about this, or I'm not sure how to think about this. How should I think about it? And you, Danny, come up and say, well, here's how I think about it.
Yeah.
Here's what the Bible says. Here's what Jesus says. And they're like, oh, okay. And sometimes just seeing how they think, how you think about things, like,
Yeah.
how do I process things? They're like, oh, okay. And then I invite them, you determine how you want to do it, but here's how I do it. It's that whole imitate me as I imitate Christ thing that Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 11:1. When our young people can get lost, we just sit there and say, hey, do what I do because I'm connected to the big fella. So while you're lost, don't worry. Just follow me because I'm connected to Jesus.
Mhm.
And so that's an important thing. And so I think like there's an example around like sexuality. If we're not talking about it in the church, who's educating our kids?
Right. Yeah. And again, it doesn't mean that we have to have all the answers, but are we bringing people to talk to our young people, or are we developing a culture where parents and the church is talking about this stuff? It's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God gave it to us. Let's talk about it.
It's amazing to me that that's one of the reasons why young adults start to detach.
It's one of the 6. Again,
What's the next one? What's the other one? We
yeah, so
got
there's
some
2 more. Yeah, 2 more. So one is the second to the last one is exclusive. And what that means is that we expect only certain people to come in the church. We kind of have our way. And I think about it this way. I think about the church like an emergency department. The foyer, when someone comes in and they're not doing well, I just have to take care of them and stabilize them because we're all in a
hospital for
We're all
sinners,
sick.
right?
Yeah, we all are.
So the church is kind of like an emergency room. I love
Should
that.
Should be. Okay, that's one of the sermons I preach. I think that churches are ERs. However, are we ready for what's coming in?
Mm.
So if you come in with a broken leg, I'm ready. You come into an ER with chest pain, I'm ready. You come in with a stroke, I'm ready. Your kid has a fever of 104, I'm ready. Are we ready for the people that Jesus loves, that he wants to send to us? Are we ready? Are we ready for those struggling with addiction? Are we ready for those that are poor and struggling? Are we ready to those who are having marital troubles? Are we ready for those that are confused about things? Are we ready?
Now, some people would say, yeah, we're ready because we know exactly what to tell them how to change.
100%.
Right? As soon as we see them, we know exactly how to change them.
100%. Yeah, we want you to dress this way.
Yeah.
We want you to eat this way. This is what it is. And I only say this just as this is what the young adults see. And what they're used to is they're used to an exclusive thing where they all walk together, people from different parts of life. And so the young adults are really uncomfortable because the church should be welcoming and everybody should be welcome. But if someone shows up, maybe not smelling great, or if someone shows up wearing the wrong clothes or wearing not enough clothes, we're uncomfortable and we actually do things that send them away. And the young people are wondering, like, why do we do that?
Yeah.
So this exclusivity is really, yes, Jesus has a way, but Jesus brings us in, we baptize, then we teach. Sanctification is one of these walks where Jesus reveals to us, well, why should I do this? And why should I do that? Oh, this is why. We don't start there. Jesus doesn't start there.
Right.
And so I think we need to be loving and welcome people in.
Yes.
And I would wish pastors, if we could think about the churches like ERs, and we're ready, and someone comes in and they're sick, we know how to address it. We're ready for them.
Yeah.
We shouldn't always act surprised, like, oh boy, I'm shocked this person's here.
Yeah. Right.
Jesus
right.
wants to send us people that are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is doubt. Anytime the young adults come and they express doubt, what people say is, your faith is just weak, and they won't engage with it with them.
Okay. Ooh. So young adults they're
wondering.
emerging into adulthood.
Yeah.
They're having questions,
Yeah.
and then they question the way that they're just trying to understand it, right?
Yeah.
But somehow that gets repressed, or you don't go deep into the questions, are just kind of sidestepped.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
If God is loving, why does he allow bad things to happen? And why does this thing happen? And I'm not sure, like the whole science thing. I'm there and they're all telling me about macroevolution, and boy, the evidence for 6,000-year-old young Earth, it kind of appears not that great. My faith is kind of wavering. And instead of coming alongside and saying, yeah, I understand, let's talk it through.
That's a real thing, and we might not have all the answers, but we can trudge along together.
And if we look at the biblical example, look at John the Baptist. He's in prison. He's never seen Jesus in ministry, baptize him, and then he gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So he sends out his delegates to Jesus, and they go, hey, are you the one, or should we be waiting for somebody else?
Yeah.
John is doubting.
He's starting to doubt.
And Jesus goes on and says, this is the greatest born of a woman.
Wow.
He's doubting. Now, does Jesus make fun of him? No, Jesus says, hey, go back and tell him what you've seen and all this, and the dead
Give
rise.
him evidence.
Give him evidence.
Yeah.
Give him evidence. Give him evidence.
Like he didn't give him the answer and say, hey, why don't you do? He's just, hey, keep struggling, or keep learning, keep seeking. Here's the evidence.
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine if we did that.
Yeah. Or like for me, so I go, and when I preach the sermon on doubt, I take a needle and I poke and I start to bleed. And how do I stop bleeding? Well, there's the clotting cascade. And the clotting cascade has 50 proteins that are 500 to 600 amino acids each. How did that all just appear at one time? Well, it didn't. So for me, anytime I have doubt, I think about me bleeding, and I'm like, oh, God, I'm good. I'm good. It solves mine. Because, I work with a lot of doctors that are atheists, right? And they talk about these things. And so if any doubt comes in, I just remember bleeding. And I know the clotting cascade just couldn't admit. You miss one amino acid, you have hemophilia, you bleed to death. You miss one amino acid, not a protein, but an amino acid, and you clot to death. I'm good, God. So for me, Danny, every time I think about the clotting cascade, anytime I have doubt, it cures my doubt because there's evidence.
Yeah.
So we just need to walk along and, okay, what are you doubting for? Not sit there and say, oh, your faith is weak.
Right.
That's the wrong answer. Jesus didn't do that to John. Why would we do that?
You need to pray more. You haven't prayed enough.
Exactly.
You're just like, we need to be more comfortable with doubt and walk alongside people who doubt.
And the young
Many
adults,
people doubt. Many of the great heroes of faith, they doubted, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the crux of young adult ministry is just walk with people. We don't have to have the answers.
Yeah.
Just walk and listen and maybe give them a couple of guidances, or you can tell them how you do it. But just so the young people know they're not alone, it's so reassuring.
Yeah.
Oh, Pastor Danny's walking with me, or Pastor Jeff is walking with me. I'm not alone. Oh, I feel so much better.
I'm not getting labeled. I'm not getting pushed out. It's like you're still being embraced. You're part of the community. Yeah. Someone's walking with you.
I'm not made to feel like I'm dumb, or I'm behind, or I'm lost, or I'm stupid. But no, you're good.
Yeah. So it's just that we don't deal with doubt well, and again, that's one of the things where they start to pull away. So, any others?
No. So those are the big six.
Those are the main six. And so basically, what you're saying to us is that there are reasons, subtle reasons, that in the church or in our relationships with young adults, we give them reasons. You, like the book said, you lost me. In other words, you used to have me.
You had me.
But
I was
you
there.
started losing me.
Yes.
So this is kind of a little bit of we got to take some ownership, right?
It hurts.
Of how we're contributing to the problem.
Yes.
So many times people we look at young adults and they're leaving
the world.
Like they're just becoming secular. The world is taking it. But this is actually naming how we're contributing to why young adults leave.
There's no question some people fall off the rails because they're enticed by the world. That's true.
Sure.
What the research shows, there's a lot of it's internal. We had them. They were walking with us, and we didn't address these issues, and it pushes people away. And that hurts.
That does hurt. But we need to take some accountability for for our role in this. All right. So those are the reasons why. What are some things that
Yeah,
we
what can
can
we
do
do?
about it? All right.
I've just
Let's get
depressed
into
everybody.
that. We got to come to terms with that. No,
Yeah.
because it is a high number. But there are churches and there are young adults who are having these issues,
Yes.
but they're persisting.
There
in
are
the church.
churches where young adult ministry is thriving. Young adults are thriving.
Why is that, and what are they doing?
So
what can we do?
Yeah, so I think first of all, get educated. There are so many good books on young adults, and we'll talk about like Steve Argue in a few minutes about transitions, Fuller and the Growing Young. There's a bunch of data there, so get educated. Number 2, just remember when it comes to young adults, relationships matter, and everybody is unique. Everybody's walk is different. There's no one person's walk that's the same. So be prepared that when you talk to one young adult, it's one young adult story. Now, there are commonalities, but everybody's different and unique. And when young adults see that, Pastor Danny's walking with me and he's there for me and doesn't judge me and just loves me for me, they're more open to the counsel that you can give them for the Holy Spirit to help them. So those relationships matter. So young adult ministry is not a Sabbath school program. It's an entire walk with the young adults. And we need to be prepared for that and find leaders that want that walk.
And we need to understand where they are, how they're struggling, like what the struggles of their generation. There's a lot of education on our part that we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I would say a couple of other options to think about. One is, how many young adults are on your church board? How many young adults have a seat at the table to lead various ministries? And I would say that you need more than 0. And having a token 1 is not enough. If we really want to be a church with the fingerprints of the young adults, we've got to get them involved and give them some control, that overprotective. We need to, I know you're big. One thing I really love about you, Danny, is that you're huge on discipleship. Like it matters to you. Like it's on your email. It's how you roll. You think discipleship every day, not just mentorship, but walking along, following my footsteps, do as I do. That's what young adults want. That's what young adults want. So anti-science, let's get some science things. Let's get some science sermons or science seminars. Sexuality, let's get some sexuality seminars in there. Let's bring these educational pieces in there so we can educate parents in our youth and our young adults. And then when it comes to shallow, what's our Bible reading plan? What's our Bible study plan? How are we helping our young adults have a experience in the Word and in prayer every day? We've got to get into that and have them follow you, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And the last resource I will say is I'm here. So I did a weekend workshop on these 6 topics for a church. It was unbelievable. You should have seen the dialogue between the older and the mid and the young adults was so rich. And we had them report out in groups on what they learned about each other. It was so incredible.
So you started a conversation about some of these things and how does it relate to this church?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing conversation
and
that
the
would have
young
been.
adults, and then the older adults like, whoa, I had no idea.
Wow.
I had no idea what you were going through. And the young adults feel heard.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, what can we do? And so, I'm here, my one house team. You guys don't have to solve this by yourselves. If you want my help and you want to reach out, I'm here. My team is here.
This is part of your role here at Southern California Conference is to support our pastors and our churches.
Yes.
And you're available to come to the local church.
Yes.
I know that you're summarizing a lot of this, and I know there's a lot more to talk about, but those conversations that you can have with the local church and the leaders can really, really be helpful to kind of explore these dimensions.
Yeah, and maybe even just start, like you want to have a conversation with you or your pastoral team or with your board.
Yeah.
And I can help you understand what the things are we should consider and make sure you're ready for change.
Amazing. Because it won't be easy, right?
No.
There's a lot that we need to understand about young adults in their journeys and some of the transitions that they're going through. Is that one way to look at it?
Yeah, and I think, before we get into the transition work, because it's so important, in 1 Corinthians 9, Paul says, I became a Jew to win the Jew. I became a Gentile to win the Gentile. Basically, he sums it up. I'm willing to do anything except break the 10 commandments to win some. And I wonder, in our churches, are we willing to do anything?
Anything short of sin. I've heard that, right?
Anything short of breaking the 10
able
to win our young adults.
to understand them,
Yes.
to grow in our
Yes.
understanding of what they're going
Yes.
through. We got to do more. We got to do better. We
You
do.
and I are going to meet the big fella one day, and he's going to look at us and say, did you guys really do everything?
Right.
And part of my job in Southern California, I think, is just to ask these questions and be here as a resource and to really push us into the uncomfortable position of changing and adapting, staying true to Jesus, and being a great place for our young adults.
Amazing.
So these transitions are also important.
Okay, let's talk about transition.
Yeah.
This is really, really helpful.
Yeah, so I think if you look at, young adults, so how is it different? So I think you and I were laughing earlier before we went on broadcast. Life used to be linear. You went to high school, then you went to college, and at some point you had a career and you got married and you had kids, and it just was a straight line.
Yeah, we all did that. Like people our age, it was always the same.
All the way through. It's what was expected.
Yeah.
Now you go and look, and it's all over the map. They might go here, they might go there, they might go there, they might go there. They might start school, stop, work, come home, leave home, have a relationship, not be in a relationship, all over the place.
Get married first, or
Yeah. Or not get married.
Or not, yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting. And so I think just embracing that life is different now for our young adults. And so Pastor Christian Botello, our associate pastor at Eagle, you know him, love him.
Yes.
He is my expert on Fuller Seminary and Steve Argue and the work of the young adult ministry. So he is my go-to. So he and I presented at Equip 26. You asked us to present. And so this is something, Danny, that we presented for the pastors, and people love this.
Yeah, amazing seminar.
Amazing seminar. And so Christian and I got up there, and so Pastor Christian is such a great resource. And so we put together this work, and he and I, we feel so important. We just want people to know that. So here's what the research shows. Young adults make more geographical moves, experience more job change and loss, and report more mental health changes than any other age group that your church serves.
Wow. Truly like a period of great transition.
Stretch and stress. Stretch and stress. And then if you look at it, they describe continually finding and losing friends. They have faith, but they struggle to find a church. Like they're at a college in a place they've never gone. Do they make deep roots or not? What do? Do they really want to invest or not? It's scary too. I'm not sure if I want to.
Yeah, right.
And then they report the most mental health cases over every other age group post-pandemic.
Wow.
So they really are struggling. And if you think about it, during this time of, let's say, 18 to 35, young adults spend most of their time actually in transitions. Not stable, but in these transitions. And what Steve Argue, he came and spoke last year at Eagle Rock. He was amazing. One of the things he stressed was, he was so great. One of the things he stressed is God really shows up in the lives of the young adults in these transitions. And I was talking to Christian, and he's like, you think about the children of Israel, when they were wandering, they were being stressed, they followed God. But when they got a permanent home in Canaan, they kind of got life easy. That's when they apostatized and went south. So these transitions, these slices in between where they're happen is where they encounter God. They spend a lot of time there.
Yeah. They're searching, they're asking for God's help. These transitions do provide opportunities.
So they've got these life questions and also God questions. And so what we can do is be there for them and help them solve both as they're going through these things, because they're all on these transitions. And so they found there's 7 transitions that many of the young adults will go through during their 18 to 35 years old.
7 transitions.
7.
Okay, let's talk about those.
So just really quickly. And the most important thing I want to say, and this is what Argue would say, is young adults need us to go with them on the journey. Sounds a lot like the stuff we were just talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Young adults need us on this journey with them. So
it's very relational, right?
It's so relational. Can I trust you? And can I tell you? And you're not going to laugh at me or make fun of me, and you're going to love me, and you're going to help me, and will you really be there? So the first thing that the research that Argue's team did in the literature found is that it's identity transition. Who am I becoming in all its complexity and intersectionality? Who am I? So you and I mean, so I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a pastor, I'm a doctor. So these are all who I am.
Yeah.
Well, I'm much older. These young adults, they're just trying to figure out, who are they?
Yeah.
Where are they going? What am I going to do? Who am I going to become? Who is Jeff Sewell? Who is Danny Chan? Well, you and I know more on who we are today than we did back when we were 18.
Yeah, I remember This is a really important point that we in adulthood often forget.
Yeah.
I remember when I first went away for school,
Yeah.
I was meeting new people. I was trying on new hairstyles.
Yeah.
You should have seen the pictures of my
I'd love
hair.
to
I
see
had
those.
Robert Smith hair, all
Yeah,
over the
let's
place. And
go.
then I came home for home leave one day,
Yeah.
and then I had to decide, do I still wear my hair that way
Yeah.
when I went back to church? Do I
Right.
not do I still talk that way? So I was trying to figure out who I was. Like, we forget very often
Yeah.
because we're so settled in our identity, so settled that young people are trying to figure out who they
Who
are,
are they?
right?
Yeah. And then, of course, we have to lift up, like, okay, who are you in Jesus? Right? Because Jesus clearly knows who you are.
Yeah.
I made you. I knit you together. I want what's good for you.
Mhm.
I've got these great plans for you. So
Mhm.
it fits perfectly.
Their minds are developing to a point where they're making their own decisions, but they're still trying to figure it out. So that's an amazing transition.
Well, and one of the fun things for me is that, people will ask me, so you were an internal medicine doctor? Yes. And now you're a pastor? Yes. How did that career change happen? Let's talk. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
someone where I had one big career. Now I'm in a different career. So don't be afraid to change careers if that's where God is
Right.
leading, right? Like,
Yeah.
we have to be open. Whereas in the past, you got in this rut for 30 years and that's where you were.
Yeah.
That's
You
not
were-
how it is today. So really, okay, so who are they? And then the second is relational transitions. Who am I trusting?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, who
So
am I
that's slightly
trusting?
different.
Yeah, in light of my past, present, and my future relationships. They've got to set some boundaries. They want to deepen some relationships, but they want new ones.
Mm.
So who are they?
So they're meeting new people,
Yeah.
right? They're developing new relationship, but they're trying to figure out who to trust and who aligns with them. And yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought about that.
So I'm on the mission trip, Navajo, and it's every day. It's up at 6, and start working at 7 because it's so hot during the day, right? It's almost 100. So one night, one of the young adults on the mission trip said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we're up till 1:30 in the morning because they had discovered over the trip I was somebody they could trust, and now they wanted to talk to me. So clearly, in their relational transition,
Yeah.
oh, Pastor Jeff, somebody I want to lean
Yeah.
into. Can you help me? And so we spent a couple of hours just in dialogue.
Awesome.
So
Amazing.
again, pastors and our lay people leaders, we need people in these ministries with young adults who are trustworthy.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor and a pastor, so I'm not going to talk about your stuff unless you're going to harm somebody else or, yourself. Your secrets are safe with me. I'm just
Yeah.
here for you. So the first is, identity, like, who am I? And the second is, who should I trust?
Who can I trust?
Yeah. Who should I
Excellent.
trust? Who's going to be in my circle? Okay. The third one is, what am I contributing for the betterment of others? Contributing. What am I contributing?
Mm.
So for young adults, it's aspirational. What do I want to do with my life? And then practical. How do I pay the bills? I have all this stuff, and they're sitting there wrestling with the today and the future. So the now and the not yet. We know this, right? The now and the not yet. So they're in there and they're trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to become a contributing member of my community, of my church, of my work? How do I contribute?
Like, is this like a career choice or it's bigger than that?
Bigger than that. It's a purpose.
Right?
Yeah, what's my purpose?
What is my purpose?
What's my purpose?
And how can I blend who I am with my career so that I can reach my purpose?
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it out, right?
Because they're in either single or married or have kids. They've got that contribution. And then they're in the church. Okay, what are they doing there? Or they're at work and they're doing there. And then, for this generation, being good sheep really matters, like being out in the community and solving people's woes, right?
Yeah.
So
social
the poor,
justice,
biblical
making a
social
difference.
justice. They want to make a difference. They want to be involved. And so they're trying to figure out, is the church a place where I can find my purpose? That I can use these talents for Jesus, that I can recognize my spiritual gifts. Our Bible camp in April, Pastor Celeste Harrison and Pastor Kevin Camado of Alhambra and Temple City, they led a workshop on identifying your spiritual gifts. The young adults loved it.
Yeah.
Because it went out there. And so again, this is something we can do, is we can bring these, how to give a Bible study, how to share your faith in a secular world, prayer and Bible, it's so cool. So
yeah, how to figure out
they're trying to figure out
their contribution. Good.
Yeah,
That's another transition. Excellent.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. So there's a couple more. So one is responsibility.
Hmm.
So I'm now responsible for everything. My parents used to be responsible. And then there's this place where it's kind of both. And now I'm responsible for all of these things.
Hmm.
So my daughter, Elizabeth, is a medicine peds resident in Michigan. And with her husband, Nathan, he's internal medicine. And so we drove to Ann Arbor.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out there right after they matched, and we started looking. And so they have to rent a house. They've got to read the lease. They've got to decide if they're going to sign that lease.
Yeah.
They've got to, so
It's
these
their
are
first time.
This is their first time.
Yeah. It's like, how do you read this?
How do you
And
read
does
it? What do I?
mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they sent
Wow.
it to me, and I said, yeah, you guys read it first.
Yeah.
You make up your list of questions, any concerns, send it to me, and then we'll talk, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I want, and
So you're walking them through it. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
So they did great. So responsibility. So, and again, this is in the church. So we who've been in leadership for a while, let's give them more and more gradual responsibility in a safe way so they can be successful. And then we can turn it over while God calls you and I to do something else in the church.
Right.
Give the responsibility over to the young adults. Let them lead
Yeah.
when
Or
they're
even-
ready.
Or even younger, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how much they could do as long as they have someone who's supporting them
That's
along the way.
scaffolding, right? That's why I
Yeah,
love the
scaffolding.
scaffolding,
I
right?
love
if we
that.
can
Yeah.
scaffold
Yeah.
and then remove it when we need to, but not too early.
Yeah.
But scaffold as we sort
But
of
giving them the freedom to actually take
Yeah.
ownership, right?
make some mistakes in a safe way.
Yeah.
That's how
love
they
that.
learn.
Love that.
You know, and so, but the scaffold is there. So they make a mistake, but it doesn't tank the service. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
They make a mistake, but the live stream is still going.
Right, right.
So let them play with those things. So responsibility.
So they're in transition. They're moving into a world where now they have to pay for their own gas. They have
Yeah.
to pay for their own
negotiate
cell phone,
leases, buy
Yeah,
cars,
right.
arrange for these things.
find a roommate.
Find a roommate.
They're in transition. I always forget that, and they are in transition.
Yeah. The next one is self-care. I'm now responsible for my health. I've got to figure out what I'm going to eat. I got to shop what my meals look like. I've got to arrange doctors. What is this healthcare thing? What are premiums? What are co-pays? What are co-insurances?
Wow.
All new.
Yeah.
So they've got to navigate all those things.
Like I got to figure out what time I wake up. I go to bed. I got to wake up early. I got to manage that. Nobody's telling me when.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
stuck on the 5 or the 101 or the 10 or the 210 or whatever freeway for an hour and a half every day.
Yeah.
How do I take care of my mental health? How do I physically exercise? How do I eat? Do I sleep enough? They're responsible now for all of that. Whereas when they were in our household as parents,
Their whole life, they've been told how to do that.
and now they're responsible.
And now they have to figure it out.
And I know sometimes we laugh. I mean, this is complicated. I mean,
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about it. And so on all of these things, like how do we help them? So that's another transition we have to help them with. And then adapting is basically, if you're in a college place or you're in a place temporarily, do you put down deep roots or not?
Mm,
Do you invest or not? Do I just kind of cruise from church to church and not really choose one?
right.
Or do I dive in?
Do you dive in, get involved?
Now, this is one place where Pastor Eden and our Campus Connect team is so powerful.
Mhm.
Because even if the young adults who are here and going to colleges, even if they don't find a church they want to go to every Sabbath or they don't have a car to get there, we can reach out to them and incorporate them in our ministry so they can feel like they're part of a spiritual family. So that's one cool thing about the officers, you included. Thank you for supporting us, because Eden and his team are doing great things out there.
Amazing.
And again, pastors, just to call out, if there are young adults of yours going to public campuses in Los Angeles County, please let us know, because we
Yes.
want to include them in all the stuff we do.
Yep.
We do hiking and food and ministries and studies and, Six Flags and all of these fun things. So
Yeah. These are
playing and
our
playing.
Adventist kids in public campuses that they don't know anybody. They don't have any connection. This is one amazing way to get them connected.
And then the last transition, I think, just brings it all together, is how do I take the work me and my home me and my church me and make that all me? And that's called meaning making. Is in the end of it all am I feeling good about who I am across all of the places that I show up? So people know me as Dr. Jeff when I was working as a doctor, but they know me as Uncle Jeff or Elder Jeff at the church. And then they know me in the community at the food bank as this, right? So I have many different personas.
Yeah.
And does all of that add up that I feel great about what I'm doing? Do I feel good about what Jesus is doing in my life? And can I express all of that? So it's kind of a sum total of all of those. And Pastor Christian, when we did our Equip 26, he gave some examples of conversations with young adults who are in all of these transitions so that people could really see, oh, I see what that, yeah, okay, I got it. And sometimes Pastor Christian would share, like, he just is quiet and just sits with them as they figure it out. And then when they reach out, he'll be happy to give some wisdom. But in general, they just want someone along with them on the journey.
Yeah.
And that's really what they want. So
Trying to figure out what it all means and what their different roles, how do they contribute to who they are.
Yeah, and so I think
it's a big transition. We in adulthood we take that for granted.
Yes.
Because we figured it out for decades.
Yeah.
But we too were at a point where we were trying to figure that out, and that's where they are.
And me, I mean, the transition from doctor to pastor was a big transition. So I went in, I had that transition late in life as well. So I had to go through it again, and so maybe I'm
fresh.
Maybe I'm more open because it's fresher for me.
Yeah.
So I would say, so what do we do with the transition? So realize God shows up in a big way in these transitions. Young adults are open because they have a lot of questions, and this is a time where God can show up and we can show up. And then these transitions aren't really labels; they're just it's just understanding what they're going through. And then what can we do about it? So for church leaders, for pastors, and for young adult leaders, I would say that if you can get some of your leaders together and just ask them, like, how might our church, how might our faith community support our young adults going through some of these transitions? Like, start to talk about it and brainstorm what resources we might have. And then
just involving the leadership in the conversation to try to educate them about
what do we have,
what our young adults are experiencing.
And then what do we have as resources? What's in our church? Because every church will have different resources. Who do we have? What do we have? And then get the young adults together and say, hey, right now, where are you? What transition are you in? What's taking precedence in your life right now, and how would you describe it?
Yeah.
I just let them tell
and
their
then
story.
how we can support you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then if you take that list of the transitions and then you ask a group. So we had an intercessory prayer event at the beginning of this year in January, and Pastor Christian led the candlestick one. And basically it was light for the future. And he gave them 3 stones and put out the 7 transitions, and they got to put the stone in the top 3 they were going through. And at the end, they talked about it, and then they prayed over all of their transitions.
Oh, beautiful.
People came out of that powerful. I know, because my brother and his son went through it, and he came out and he goes, that was amazing. So Pastor, just the fact of listening and like putting a name, like, these are real things, like, oh, that's where I am.
It's so powerful to name something.
So powerful.
So as we're talking about, these are like transitions that our young adults are going. Is it safe to say that even as they're going through it, they don't know exactly how to even describe that phase? Like, we're describing it, right? But it's possible that young adults are going through this without even knowing what it is, right?
100%.
And so we can help them. We can give them language to describe what they're going for and support them along the way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it's like if you go to see a therapist, most therapists believe you already know the answer. You just may not be seeing it in the right way. And so getting you to name it, like, this is where I'm at, it takes away some of the power. It takes away some of the mystery. And you're like, oh yeah, that is where I'm at. And I think, again, as trusted friends, as trusted mentors, as trusted colleagues, disciplers, they sit there and we can listen. And then we said, well, maybe you're here. And they're like, yeah, that's where I am. Self-discovery is so powerful.
Very powerful, because it gives you something that, okay, now that I know what it is, then this is how I could approach it. These are the people that I could lean on. Very powerful.
And I would say, again, we pastors and lay leaders resist the temptation to solve the problem for them. Have them come to self-discovery, and we can sort of nuance and help push. But once they discover it for themselves, it's theirs. It's so powerful.
We just got to ask them a lot of questions, not try to give the answer. Just
in medicine, Socratic method, right? We ask questions, why, and about the 5th why, you're like, okay, that's why. And that's what we do in medicine. And I think we as pastors and we as young adult leaders, we can just come alongside and just help them as they explore. and God will reveal it to them.
Try to understand where they are and try to walk
Yeah,
alongside
but don't
them.
fix them,
Yeah.
don't solve them and don't tell them. Let them discover it. It'll be so much better.
Yeah.
But it takes time.
I love it. I love it.
So those are the things that are on my mind these days, the transitions and why people leave. And again, Danny, I would say for the pastors and young adult lay leaders out there, I'm available. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. My One House team, you want us to have an event at your church or do something, we're here for you. This is what we love to do. It's what I love to do. And it brings me such meaning and joy.
Amazing. Dr. Sewell, thank you so much for spending time with us here at the Ministry Path podcast. You've given us so much to chew on and some really, really great resources. And we appreciate everything that you're doing to lead the young adult ministries throughout our conference. And if you see those events happening, just know that it's a way that we're pouring into gathering these young people, giving them resources, walking alongside them so that they can go back to the churches and continue to develop into the young people that God envisions for them. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for being here at the Ministry Path podcast. We can't wait to see you guys at the next one, and so thank you so much for being part of this journey. I also want to thank our producer, Michelle Nolan, award-winning producer. Thank you so much for making this podcast possible. We can't wait to see you or to hear you at the next Ministry Path podcast. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. And pastors, thank you, lay leaders, for your support. Young adults, thanks for your support. God is good. He's coming soon. Let's keep courage.
Amen. Thank you.